Hi, everybody. Today we are going to talk about hyperlinks. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen because I want to show first the structure of a small website I created. Okay, so here in my screen, you can see the files I created to this small website. We need to remember for hyperlinks the lesson where we talked about absolute and relative path. We are going to use this concept here again. So here we have one, two HTML pages, and we have a folder called pages. Inside that folder, we have another HTML page called solutions. So I'm going to open here in VS Code my first, so you can see the code and how we are going to create the links to the other pages. Okay, I'm going to put here in parallel, kind of one below the other, so you can see as I talk, you can see the location of the pages. I'm not going to go over anything on the top of the HTML document because by now you know how to start an HTML document. So let's go directly to the hyperlink. So suppose I am coding here on this page, my first, as you can see, and I want to create a link to my page, web page. So the way that I do, it's inside the same structure and they are siblings. Why am I saying they are siblings? Simply because they are stored in the same folder. Look at this, my first and my page are inside the same folder. I created a folder here called public_HTML just to simulate like we are in a web server. Okay, so to create the link from my first to my page, I can use the relative path, and I should use the relative path. Okay, so here I put the anchor tag, okay, and the attribute age ref. I put only the name of the page, which is mypage.html. I don't need to put the absolute path because they are in the same structure. They belong to the same website. So then I put the text for the hyperlink, which you should never put the URL of a page, or you should never put words like click here, or this link, or anything like that. You should put some words that make sense to the user, that will show to the user where you are taking them to, okay? So then I close the anchor tag and I put the rest of my paragraph here, as you can see. Now, I will also create another link to the solutions web page. But the solutions web page is inside the pages folder. So in that case, I need to put, still using the relative path, I need to put the name of the folder here, then a / and put the name of the file that I want to link to. Again, I put a meaningful word to be my hyperlink and the rest of the paragraph. Now, I can link also to other websites, right? So other websites, they are not inside my structure. So for example, suppose that I want to create a link to Google. So I can start a sentence and I put here like Google is the most used search engine in the world. Cool. Now I'm gonna make Google be a hyperlink to the Google website. So now look at this. I put my anchor tag, and now I have to use absolute path. I cannot put here Google only or google.com only, no, or www.google.com. I have to put the complete URL. Otherwise, my browser will think that I'm looking for a folder or for a file inside my website structure. Okay, and that's not the case. So I put the complete, the absolute path, and then I use the target attribute with underscore blank. Why? Because as this is not my website, I cannot guarantee that the user will find the website to be useful. So what if the user opens that link in the same on top of my web page? How will the user go back to my web page? Well, the user would need to use the arrow of the browser to go back, which is not a good idea. It's not user friendly. So that's why I use the target attribute with the value of underscore blank. So it will open in another tab or window. So the user goes to that link in another tab or window, and the user, suppose he does not like the page. Simple, he just closed that tab and window and he will be back to my web page. Now, because I use the target underscore blank, it's advisable to put the REL attribute with those values that you see here, no opener and no referrer. This is for security reasons. I don't want to enter in too much detail here, as this is an introduction to HTML, but you should know that whenever you open a hyperlink in another tab or window, it's always advisable to put the REL attribute as well. Now, I created here below another link, and now I'm creating a link to the VS Code page where you could download VS Code web editor for you. And again, I'm using here the absolute path of their website. See here? And the target attribute to open in another tab or window, and the REL attribute for security reasons. Now, suppose now that I want to, from the solutions, okay, I want to go back to my first. Is it possible? Of course it is. Once you have a web page, you can go back and forth. You can create a link to go back and forth. So from the solutions page, how I would go back to my first. So solutions is inside the page folder. So I have to go up one level to get out of the page folder, and then, well, now I can see my first web page. And that's what these two dots here, the dot / is doing, is going up one level, and then I can call my first page. I'm still using relative path because solutions, even though it's inside the page folder, it belongs to the structure of my website, okay? Now, why I would use relative path? Suppose that I have a domain name, abccompany.com, and would it work if I put here, okay, on my first, for example, when I link to my page, would it work if I would put the complete URL with the location of my page? Yes, it would. The problem with that is, suppose that one day you change your domain name, or you change, the name of the company is changed because there is a merge. You would need to go all over all the pages of your website to change the path. Because here, in that case, I don't care if the domain name is abc.com or abccompany.com or xyz.com. I don't care, because I'm using the relative path, because all those pages belong to that same domain name, to that same website. Okay, so I hope that this helps you to build nice links, and do not forget, always put very good text, content that the user will know where you are taking the user to. Don't write big sentences as a hyperlink. I'm not saying that. I'm saying to write good content, okay? Not here, click here, nothing like that. For accessibility, this is an advice for accessibility, okay? So have a nice day. See you next time.